Hello and welcome to today's session where we'll be talking about BIM for manufacturing. My name's Byron. I work here at Man and Machine on the manufacturing team. And today we're just going to be looking at the collaboration or the interoperability tools between Inventor and Revit. So what these tools allow you to do is take data from Revit, import it to Inventor, and then you can use that Revit model as a reference model inside Inventor, and then design your Inventor models or Inventor assemblies around that Revit reference model. So if we take a kitchen fitter or a shop fitter, for example, we can grab the shop layout from Revit that would most likely be designed in Revit, pull it into Inventor, and then start fitting out the shop with Inventor data like you might normally do. So adding in shelves, appliances like fridges, registers, shelving units, cupboards, everything that's required in a shop fit or a kitchen fit. You can take that Revit model into Inventor and then do all of that in there. So I've just got the sample model open for Revit 2024. It's this Snowdon Towers sample architectural model that has some residential flats along with a cafe and then some storefronts in it as well. And then what we're going to be looking at is this little store over here. We'll be fitting out this floor or this store in Inventor using our Inventor data. Rather than trying to do all of this in Revit, which you can do, but Inventor gives you that increased accuracy as well as a whole lot of fabrication, say drawing tools, tools that allow you to output drawings and fabrication data for the fitters or the people that go out and do the actual job. So the first thing we'll need to do in Inventor, or Revit should I say, is take out all the unnecessary elements we don't need to add into Inventor. So all of these tower blocks we can grab, say right click, hide in view, and then all we want to be left with is just the storefront up here. So I've already done that on another screen here. So we can see it's that same storefront, and all we have is a couple of the side walls that will need to outfit the front of the store, and then obviously a floor and the ceiling that stops the first floor. So now that we have our view, we can save this and then jump into Inventor to start fitting it out. So I'll open up Inventor and just open up a brand new assembly. We'll give that a second to load up. And then what we're going to do is import that Revit model as a reference into this assembly. So on my Assemble tab, I have the ability to place imported CAD files, so that those are files not native to Inventor. And obviously a Revit project is not a native Inventor file format, but it has the ability to read it and input it into our design. So I've just selected that storefront. We'll give it a second to load up, and we can see we're importing it as a reference model. So we're just going to be using that geometry to design around it rather than designing everything from scratch and then pulling it over into Inventor. So there's a few steps you need to do. So it's just grab the correct view. So I've got my 3D collaboration view that I've created in Revit. So if you're working with another team, you would ask them to create this view for you that you can then use when you open it up in Revit. You could simplify it even more by turning off certain categories, but we've done that already in Revit, so we can just press OK to bring that into our Inventor workspace. Again, we'll just give it a second to load up. And then the first thing we want to ensure is we want to right-click and place this grounded at the origin. What that does is when I start designing my model or my geometry around this model, when the time comes to export it out as a Revit model and back into Revit, when I place it back into Revit, it will automatically be placed at the correct coordinates. So I don't need to go back into a Revit and align and constrain everything correctly. That's all automatically done for me. So we can see now we've got this storefront in our model tree, and these are selectable part files that we can change the visibility of if necessary. So in order to design this, I actually want to turn this roof off. So I'll just change my priority, my selection priority to part priority. And that then should allow me to grab this roof, right click, change the visibility off, and now I have that removed from my view, which will allow me to then model, either place in my components correctly, or I could use this geometry as reference geometry and model directly from that. So for instance, maybe we needed to add a few shelves between these two pillars here. We can do that. I've just seen these pillars are not actually aligned against the wall, which I don't think is correct. So let's quickly have a look at our, yeah, it doesn't look like our model updated correctly there. What I can do is just drag them across. Or maybe we'll just use the align tool. So I'll grab my wall, select align, select the element I want to align it to, select the wall, and then we've got that done. Give that a save. Now it says it's not saved because we have that model referenced in Inventor, but I can close that, and when I come back to Inventor, it should tell me that there's an update required. So I'm going to click that update, and then my model should adjust accordingly. So you can see this is a live model, if you will. So it recognizes that the original file has been saved and updated, and then I click the update button, and that's been updated for me. So I'll just turn off this ceiling again, and let's design those shelves quickly. So I'll create a new component. I'll call it shelving unit. Standard part template is fine. We'll just place that anywhere. And now I'm going to use this floor as a reference for my first plane. I'll just create that, say 400 mils off the ground, and then just start a quick sketch. And we can draw some very basic shelves using the original geometry. So I'll just use my project geometry tool. I'm actually going to turn this off if I can, just so that I can have access to those walls. And then I'll just project the pillars and the back face of the wall that we can use as our reference to draw our shelving units. So grab my shelving unit, or I'll grab my rectangle tool, draw a quick square or rectangle. Doesn't want me to add that, so let's quickly try that again. So from that corner down, dimension the width of these shelves, so we can make that maybe 800, and then just constrain it to the edge of the corner as well. So that's a fully constrained sketch. And then we can just extrude that 10 mils is fine. And then we've placed our first shelving unit in there. I'm not going to bother with brackets and nuts and bolts or hooks for this example, but if you were an actual shop fitter, you could add all of that in and just use this Revit model as a reference to add all of that in. We can just array this up quickly just so that we have a stack of shelves. Maybe we'll do a distance of 1800, or maybe that's too high, so 1600, and put in 6 shelves. We can go a bit higher than that. Press OK. And those are our shelves placed into our Inventor assembly using the Revit model as our reference guide. We can also place standard components in as well, as you would in any normal assembly. So maybe we need a couple fridge units for this assembly or for the storefront. We can grab our fridges from our catalog of parts, or maybe the parts that we've designed previously, and then just use the standard Inventor constraints to constrain these assemblies to the main assembly. So I'll just quickly place these down and then constrain them against the wall. Let me just grab this wall and hide it as well. So just that against there. And then the same for this one, but not the actual line. We want the face. So maybe I'll try face as an edge priority. So place those in. And then I'll just constrain the side of this fridge to the edge of this pillar as well. And maybe leave a 50mm gap as well. Press OK. And then do the same on the other side. Against that wall or that pillar, and do a 50mm offset against that pillar as well. So you can see how quickly it would be to use existing geometry to fit out either maybe a kitchen unit, or in this instance a shop, a full shop unit. We could change this sign, for instance. So we'll just turn this off as well, and then just create a new sign part that we can then use to import into Revit as well. So I'll start my sketch against that plane there. That's directly from the Revit model. Grab my text command, place in a box, type in, what we do, man and machine. Give it a size, press OK. I'm not going to worry about fonts and formatting too much for this example. That's enough to get the point across. We should then just be able to extrude that text out. We'll do, say, 30mm, press OK. Maybe we'll give it a color as well. So that's not supposed to be sing, that's supposed to be sign. But let's see. There we go, nice orange man and machine. Press return. Let me see if I can just rename that. So now we've got our fridge enclosures, or our fridges should I say, placed in. We've got our stack of shelves and then our sign for the front of our store. that we can then import back into Revit. And we don't have to worry about then aligning everything inside Revit because we've used this workflow that will automatically be done for us. So all there is to do now is first I need to save this assembly before I can export it out. So let me quickly do that. I'll give this a name. So storefront Revit link. That place is fine. Say yes to the rest of those. So we're saving a shelving unit and a sign. Give it a second to save. And now we can export this out as a Revit file. So you'll see when I click that export to Revit, the simplify dialog box pops up and the output type has automatically been set as Revit for us. We do have an in-depth blog if you wanted to have a look at the simplify tool set. It's really useful for exporting individual units out and simplifying them so that you're not taking all of that Inventor data that Revit may not necessarily need out. So it's making compact models of your intricate designs that you use for fabrication, and then other people can use them inside Revit to populate their models. So we won't be going through this in too much detail. For this example, I'll leave it on no simplification, although you do have some standard presets here. You can use the exclude command to remove certain parts as well. One thing I've forgotten to do is actually hide the original model because I don't want to include that in my export process. So I'll just turn the visibility of that off. And all I want to export is my actual Inventor data that I've just designed. So I'll quickly click the export to Revit option again. And again, I just want to export these out as is for this specific example. Again, normally you would want to simplify these down to make them a bit lighter. But for this example, it's fine. I'll keep the same name, just make sure it's saved in the correct location. Press OK, and then that should take a little bit of time to export. So you can see that's all updated, and I should have a Revit model in my Revit link folder now. And now that I can link that back into my original project. So I'm back in my original project here. And I'm going to link in that model I've just created. So grab the Revit link, go to the tool I've just exported out, and you can see as soon as I linked it in, it's all in the correct location. I've not needed to go in and constrain and align these units or shelving units and fridges out. It's all just placed in directly for me. Obviously it's got the original store signage there, but if I turn that off, you can see I've got my man and machine signpost there, as well as my shelving units and my refrigeration units as well. So you can see how useful that is when you're either working with third-party contractors or clients that want to create some really good visual representations of a shop outfit, or if you're designing HVAC units, like massive aircon units for large buildings, you can do all your clash detections there. And yeah, model it all out in Inventor and then just bring it into Revit at a later date. So some really useful tools. And as it's a live model, again, if I had to adjust the size of these walls and go back into Revit, that would all update for me automatically. So these refrigeration units would still be flush against this wall, and they'd still be 50 mils off that pillar, for instance. Another thing I should also mention is, like with anything in Inventor, we can also export out drawing views using these Revit models. So another really useful thing is if you wanted to create some instructions for the shop outfitters, you can create some really nice drawings and include the Revit model in that drawing view as well. So I'll just press OK. Well, maybe we don't want that. That's good. So nice right view here. And then I'll put an ISO view in the top corner. Maybe drop that down a little bit. So 1 to 120 and shade that up. And yeah, you have all the amazing Inventor drawing creation tools at your disposal whilst working with Revit and Inventor data together. So you can see we have our 50 mil offset there. Should have a random gap between those two refrigeration units. So yeah, it's just a really useful tool for anybody that needs to create BIM content. These tools have come a long way, and they're quite seamless now in the way they work together. So if you would like to learn any more about this topic, we have a really good team here that has expertise in both the construction and the manufacturing industries. So if you needed to know more information on standard building information modeling, what kind of data is required when you send data from Inventor to Revit and vice versa, we've got a really experienced team here that has multiple years working in both these industries that can help answer your questions. We also have a really great BIM to manufacturing video already on YouTube, and that also goes over some of the standards that are required when exporting this data out. So I'd recommend that as a follow-up video if you are more interested in this workflow or process. But if you did have any more questions, please reach out to us and we can arrange a call and get those answers to you. So thank you for that, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.